Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're coming to you with another episode of the Mile High Game Guys, which I already said, of our board gaming podcast that will be released sometime in the next week or so.
Happy Thanksgiving, because it's coming out on the 26th, so you can listen to us while having your socially distanced, not seeing your family Thanksgiving dinners.
Yeah, and if you did go see your family and they're railing about how an election was stolen, you could just step away and put this into your ear holes, and it'll all be good, I promise you. As always, we would like to start these episodes off by thanking our sponsors, Gray Fox Games, for continuing to sponsor this podcast. We are down to the last week or so of our special coupon code for listeners. So if you go over to grayfoxgames.com, any non-exclusive game over there, you can get 20% off by using the coupon code NOVGAMEGUYS, 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 to get 20% off. So thanks to them for supporting you and supporting us in such a kind and generous way. Yeah. We actually have board games to talk about this week, though, which is pretty impressive. Zach, do you have board games to talk about? I forgot to check with you before the episode started, but I know Jeff and I do.
No, I do not.
Okay,
but
so we will just ignore.
Just ignore me, because any talk of this would just lengthen the time in which we're not playing WoW. And so this, I will say I finally got my order from Miniature Market that had Pandemic Legacy Season 0, the Red Skull expansion for Marvel Champions, and then 2 new Exit games. So, Adrian, we needed to get together and finish 2 so that we can immediately start 0. So
Yes, we do. So speaking of Pandemic Legacy, I'll go first, because mine is more of an update on existing games I've already talked about. And then we'll let Jeff talk about new shiny shit.
Not that new.
I know. I didn't remember what games you said, because it was in a text message earlier, like yesterday. Anyway. So I played some more Pandemic Legacy Season 1 with Megan on Tabletop Simulator. So we had to play October. We had been on like a 4-game winning streak. And we started up October. And we went through the whole setup. Set the whole board up, did everything like that. It was my first turn. I moved some things around, we had a particularly rough spot in like Sao Paulo and Santiago, I think, are the 2 South American cities that are like right next to each other down on like the bottom coast of South America. And those were 2 of the 3 like first cards that came out. So they had 3 cubes each. And it was like, all right, we got to get down there. So I went first, and my first move was like dispatcher to move my medic down there so that he could clear both of those in like his turn and it wouldn't be a problem. So I did that whole turn and a few other things because I had 5 actions that round. And then he drew his first player card. Top card off the player deck was an Epidemic. It popped, flipped the bottom, and it was Bogota, which is like triangle connected to those. And then proceeded to draw Sao Paulo and Bogota, and the chain reaction off of both of those cascading ran us out of yellow cubes, and we lost. And it was like, well, fuck that. And so we said, fuck that. And so we just reround, because it's really easy to do when you're playing on Tabletop Simulator, and all of the stickers were just easily undoable. So we started over. And so you can stay in asterisks if you want, but I don't give a shit. We didn't hardly get a play, and I hate that. So then we still lost. So the end result was the same. The process was different, and it arguably would have been better just to take the hard loss in terms of what it would have done to cities, because the loss we ended up having, I can't remember. I think Outbreaks killed us. We lost on the Outbreak track, but it involved having like 2 more cities in Asia fall. So we've got like 6 fallen cities in Asia that we are just increasingly walling off and leaving to their own devices. We failed on the search track for like the 3rd round in a row, trying to find something that I know will do something that is really important. And like, it's one of those, it's hard for me to convince Megan that it's important because I don't want to like spoil shit. And she hasn't picked up on the fact that I'm like, we need to fucking focus on this search. Because she keeps being like, well, I know I said I was going to go there and spend these 3 cards on this search, which would have gotten us 1 away. But I think I'm going to go over here and quarantine some things. And it's like, no, we need to search. So we lost first round of October. So that sucked. So then we played second half of October. This is the first time in a long time that we actually had the 2 like unfunded events in the deck, which was nice. Made things a little bit more pleasant. The spacing of the epidemic cards was much better on this one. It was still kind of close. We did finally realize we were almost done with the search, and then another epidemic happened, which pushed it just 1 too far away. And so we abandoned that and decided to focus on our, so we have 4 objectives. We've got like the normal cure 3 diseases. We did that. We've got, destroy things, which I'll be vague about because spoilers. And then we've got like quarantine 7 of the bad cities. And then we have complete that search. So we gave up on the search. We had already destroyed the 2 things. We'd cured the 3. So it was like, all right, well, we've got to go like all out on trying to get these 7 quarantines out, which is hard to do sometimes because as you throw in roadblocks and cities fall, it gets a lot harder to move around some of those regions. But we were able to pull it off basically like right at the very end. We were down to just a couple cards left in the deck. We were at like level 4 on the outbreak track, so things were getting real ugly. Or on the infection track. So we were drawing 4 infection cards a turn. But we managed to pull out the victory, barely. And so we're going into November. Got at most 4 games left. Hopefully only 2 games left. And we're going to try and knock those out this week because we're both off for the entire week of Thanksgiving. And then once that's done, I'll probably, I noticed like the last time I was in there, Black and Red had some copies that were reasonably affordable of Season 2. And I might try and do that and just play Season 2 in real life. Because I like doing the stickers and tearing up cards. I think that is a very, important part of playing a Legacy game. It's not quite the same when you just right-click and delete a card as it is when you physically rip it in half. So I might try and do that with her with Season 2. And then Zach and I are racing to try and finish up our Season 2. We've got just a few games left of that so that we can do, like he said, Season 0. So that's what I played. Just those 2 games. I might try and do a Make Mars Green Again play sometime this week with some people that I've been meaning to play games with online. With some people that I've been meaning to play games with online. So we'll see how that goes. But that's what I've played. Jerf, what about you? What you got?
I have played some old games. Played some 7 Wonders Duel. Just the base game. And I won because of a science victory, which was nice. Which I don't think I'd done before.
Okay.
Because you need 6 of the 7 different symbols, and I had 4 of them. Because there's 4 of the same ones in age 1 and 2, and then there's 2 new ones in age 3, and then there's a progression token that has one. And then I ended up getting the wonder that lets you take 3 of the ones that weren't in the game, choose one, and it ended up being that science token, and I ended up winning based on that, which was nice. And then played just a shitload of Star Realms, and mostly lost at Star Realms. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't get anything going, really. A lot of the games ended up having really high cost stuff to start with, which was kind of annoying in the Star Realms world. But couldn't cull fast enough to get the combos going, and it always was sort of all right, now I have these 4 cards of scouts and then 1 good ship, and it was just felt like that over and over again. But Star Realms is real good. I still like Star Realms a lot. I know they had that all-foil Kickstarter last year, but I'm glad I didn't get that because it seems ridiculous. But I did end up, I was like, oh yeah, the app for Star Realms is pretty good, and I started playing through the campaign on that some more. I think that was it. A couple games of Seven Wonders Duel, a couple games of Star Realms. Those health cards in the original Star Realms are still horse shit.
Seems right, yep.
But I have that nice Authority app that does still work. Yeah, I think that's it. Board game related.
Right on. And as we already established, don't talk to Zach about how he didn't play board games because that's just wasting time that he wants to be spent playing.
Look, at some point, I'm just going to start playing that in the background. So just
I haven't gotten through the intro yet, so I want to take my time and get launched into the afterworld life.
Yep.
Shadowlands, and make a permanent decision of what house covenant I want that will be very detrimental to my DPS, and then I'll have to remake a character or some other horse shit. I don't know.
Oh, it's fine. It'll be fine. Yeah. Unless you're planning on doing like Mythic 10 or 15 plus, or you're really pushing the hardcore edge of raiding.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think your guild will care.
Good.
Yeah. And even if you find out it's another one, you can always switch to another one. Switch to a different covenant. So
can you?
You can.
Oh.
It takes it's like 2 weeks maybe.
Oh, I see.
Or something like that. 2 resets, but yeah.
I see.
Right on. Well, that wraps up what we've been playing. So now we can move on to some banter and banter about things. So I'm off. So it's Monday. I'm off for the next 4 days, which is great. I was off all day today. Super excited to have 5 straight days off. I do unfortunately have to go back to work the weekend right after Thanksgiving, which sucks.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Did you have, so when did you last work?
I worked Sunday.
And then you have to work again on Saturday.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I have basically 9 days off. So from this past Friday to next Monday.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer that you weren't able to get like an actual weekend.
Yeah.
Tied to that, but yeah.
Yeah, it was especially frustrating because my Sunday yesterday, and this is going to be nonsense for a lot of people, they won't understand it. So the long story short, the clean room where I normally do work and which all the maintenance that I had to do was closed from 5:30 in the morning when I got there until 2 p.m. And then I had to cram all of the remaining work that I was supposed to have 12 hours to do. I had to cram into 2 to 6 p.m., which was really frustrating. And I was messaging Megan and I was like, yeah, it sucks. The clean room's closed and I don't really have anything I can do out here. I did a bit of cleaning and organizing and shit like that in the tech shop, but I don't have anything else to do. She's like, so why are you even there? And I was like, I would love to know the answer to that. So yeah, I took that opportunity to sit around in the tech shop, and I caught up on some reading through Rime of the Frostmaiden, the latest D&D campaign book that came out, because I'm going to be running that for Megan probably starting on Wednesday. I'm going to send her to the Frozen North. So as much as May wanted me to send Megan to hell, I'm actually going to send her to the Frozen North. And then maybe after that, we'll send her back south and then eventually to hell. I don't know. We'll see. But that was nice. I also did not get Tasha's Cauldron of Everything yet because it sold out fucking everywhere. Jesus Christ, that game. I've never seen a D&D book of 5th edition sell out that fast. And I'm really upset that Black and Red lost my pre-order. But
that sucks.
It's to be expected considering their pre-order system is, hey, I'd like to pre-order this game. And they grab a scrap of paper and they go, okay, what's your name? And what's your phone number? And what are you pre-ordering? This? All right, cool. We'll get it for you. And they set it out of sight around the cash register. It's that's going to get lost, isn't it? I need to follow up about a week before, don't I? And then I forgot to follow up a week before. So, entirely my fault. But still. Well, not entirely my fault. I will take some partial fault for knowing that their pre-order system was garbage and not following up closer to the actual date. But whatever. So I'm still looking for a copy. So if anybody knows where one of the limited edition covers of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is, hook me up. I will pay monies in exchange for that product. So, other bantery things, Megan and I are scheduling an Avalanche course in, what's the town? Up there by Rocky Mountain. It almost burned down. God damn it.
Estes Park?
Estes Park. We've got an Avalanche course in Estes Park the week between Christmas and New Year's.
So is
which
that
I'm
a course
excited
to help teach you how to cause avalanches?
Correct.
Okay.
It is specifically about like how to catch James Bond style super spies in avalanches as they're skiing away from your secret mountain base. It's pretty cool.
That's nice. It seems like a good couple activity.
Exactly. No, seriously though, it's an ARI course, which is like Avalanche Institute, Avalanche Rescue. I don't know. It's a weird acronym. But it comes out as ARI. So it's ARI 1, and it's because Megan and I, because of COVID, are avoiding big, busy resorts this year, especially because those were like early outbreak spots in Colorado, and I'm amazed that they're going to be open this winter. So we're opting instead to do a lot of backcountry stuff. So we're going to tentatively take the dive into backcountry. So we're buying some good powder boards and some good like avalanche gear like shovels and probes and beacons to find each other if we're buried in an avalanche. And then we're taking an avalanche course that teaches us to like analyze snowpack and like try and determine what the likelihood of an avalanche is on any given slope at any given time and things like that. And I'm super excited about it because that is the kind of weird like cross between like my interests in snowboarding and my interests in like sciencey shit of like analyzing the snowpack and like, you know, they teach you like look at the grains of snow and like, oh yeah, this is like super shitty snow and could slide really easily, or like, no, this is great snow that should stick really well and stuff like that. And I'm really excited to learn all that different aspects of it.
I'm pretty sure there's easier ways to do that. You just try and cause an avalanche, and if it doesn't start, then you're fine.
Mm-hmm. I heard that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go jump on the edge of the hill up and
Yes.
down and see if it slides away from you or not.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But then
The
if
other
it
way
does,
to do it is
if it does, you're
Don't-
on top of the avalanche, and that's fine. And like
Yes,
that's all about
because
gravity.
Avalanches are notoriously easy to stay on top of.
Yes.
I feel like it's the opposite of the bear situation. So like, you know, the easiest way to avoid being eaten by a bear is to go hiking with a friend who is slower than you. Like you don't need to outrun the bear, you just need to outrun at least one of your friends.
Yes.
So for the avalanche course, you just need to have somebody who you don't really care about that you can just send first and then just see what happens.
Gotcha. So that's why you and Megan are doing it together. Got it.
Correct. So she can send me first.
Yes. She just.
No.
I'm assuming you guys are gonna get married first, so she's like, legally, all your stuff is mine now. Now go jump on that hill.
Well, yeah. Well, and especially since, you know, I just had to like redo all of my enrollment stuff for like healthcare and whatnot at my work. They changed provider, so I had to redo all of it. And so I was like, hey, we're engaged now, so I'm going to throw you as a beneficiary on my life insurance policy.
Okay.
So if I die very suspiciously, just remember that Megan is now a beneficiary. She stands to gain from my death for the first time in our 7-year relationship.
We will congratulate her.
Yes.
Be like, hey, Megan, look, we're not going to ask any questions. We would just like to take the studio so that we can put that in Zach's spare room and that we can still do the podcast.
Oh, yeah. My very, very super echoey spare room. You are correct.
Yeah. All right.
Well, it won't be nearly as echoey when you fill it with shower curtains. Yeah. So that's what I got going on. Avalanche class coming up in December that I'm looking forward to. Otherwise, just hanging out around the house. We got all our stuff for our Thanksgiving dinner that we're going to do, just the two of us. We got a 15-pound turkey for 2 people.
Oof. Jeez.
She was like, it was the smallest one they had. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, I'm going to be eating turkey for the next month.
Me and some friends had a Friendsgiving this past week, so that we could actually have a couple people together for it. But it was mainly just like me and, you know, Richard and them upstairs, and then like 1 or 2 other people. But he made a turducken Wellington.
Yeah,
I may have talked about it last week because he tested it then.
Yes, the test. That's what it was.
Yeah, so
you barely mentioned the test.
Okay, well, he brought the brining down from like 24 hours to 12, which helped because it was a little too salty before. But no, it turned out perfect. The thing was super good. He used a lot more meat glue to like really bind the turducken together. But it was real tasty. we had that and a bunch of other stuff that was real good. So yeah, that was our Thanksgiving thing, because I very much doubt I will be doing anything on Thursday. So other than just being in my basement, lights off, computer monitor on.
World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Can you play World of Warcraft with the VR headset?
No.
I don't think so.
I guess if you wanted to use it as like a monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But at that point, I have monitors. I don't need that.
that are better. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
No,
I could see them like focusing on that. Like
that's oof.
Seems like the kind of game that would benefit.
I would say the problem with that is that you really need a keyboard for that, and it is hard to do keyboard shit and VR at the same time.
No.
You really
I guess that's fair.
You really gotta know your finger placements.
But yeah, I think that's about all of my bantery stuff. Zach, you're playing WoW again.
Yes. Well,
because new expansion.
Yes. Before I get into that, though, just as an aside, you had talked about VR. I decided to download the Vacation Simulator, which is the sequel to Job Simulator.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically Job Simulator, but you have like there's more of an actual story going on. But then there's also just a bunch more random shit for you to do. And that's basically what it is. It's enjoyable for what it was. The one thing I don't like is as you get into the harder, like everything you're doing has like difficulties because you're just trying to gain memories of like things that you're trying to do. But like when you're cooking, like you're cooking for the people around the area that you're in. So like on the beach, say you're cooking like hamburgers and hot dogs, but then like once you get to like the advanced ones, it's like, oh, this person wants like a s'mores burger, and you're like, okay, well, where the fuck am I? Yeah, and it's like, you're like, well, where am I supposed to get this chocolate and these marshmallows? And you have to go to the other area. So there's so if you've played the Job Simulator, there's like 3 different jobs you can do, like an office worker, a gas station attendant, and then a chef. This one, you're vacationing in 3 separate areas, which is the beach, the mountains, and the forest. And as you get into the higher difficulty on some of these things, you have to go like in between each one of the different like biomes to get certain things. And so it's a little more tedious in that way. You're like, oh fuck, okay, I gotta go to the forest, and I gotta go to the mountain to get shit for the beach. And each one of the different areas has like, so if you're on the beach, once you get enough memories, you can then go on like a deep sea dive. So it's like a different part of a different section opens up that you can then get into. And so some of them, it's like you have to go like a lot of traversing in order to get certain things. So it's tedious in that way, but it's still like I'm enjoying a lot of the activities that they have. They just added hand tracking for it, which works pretty good, but it's also
finger tracking or hand tracking.
I mean finger tracking. I guess. Yeah. Well, no, hand tracking. So like
it
I don't
didn't
have
have hand
controllers.
Oh, it did. I thought it had.
Like it does, but it has hand tracking, but the game introduced hand tracking, so it's part of the game now. So it's not every game isn't just you can use your hands like wirelessly, as opposed to your wired hands. But yeah.
How else are people's hands attached to their bodies?
Exactly. Ugh. But it worked out well. I just don't like that, and it's a problem that I've had with pretty much any time I've been doing like hand tracking things, is that it's like you don't feel anything because you're just like grasping anything, and it can read it pretty well what you're doing, but it still is just like, oh, I'm grabbing this thing, but I'd rather do it with a controller, so you get that feedback of like once you went to grab something, it like vibrates a little bit or something that makes you feel like you're holding on to something. So, but otherwise, it's been WoW, like you said. The expansion released today, 3.5 hours ago, and they didn't even like bring the servers down or anything like that. It just at 4, you got a notice that was like, hey, go talk to this guy and then go into the afterlife. And you're
Let's
like,
get
okay.
this shit going.
Yeah. Yep. It looks real good so far. It's real pretty. The first zone you go into is Bastion, which is like the best afterlife, and it's real pretty and light, and all of the like grass and stuff like that looks just like fur. So I remember I looked around and was like, man, this place looks really fluffy.
That's your what's the third stage in Hades? Elysium. It's the Elysium of your afterlife.
Yes, pretty much.
But there's 4 different areas, right?
Yeah, technically there's 5 in the sense of the Maw, which is like the worst of the worst people go there, except the the machinery of death was broken, and so everybody just started going into the Maw. Yeah, and so you're trying to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, no, there's Bastion, which is based on, like you said, like the Elysium. It's for like honorable heroes. There's Ardenweald, which is for like nature-focused people. There is Maldraxxus, which is like for just people who want to fight forever. And then there's like Ravendreth, or I think that's what it's called. That one is basically like bad people. Like they go there and they're like, all right, you get one more chance. Don't fuck it up. And then if they are truly bad, then they go to the Maw. So
neat.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to playing that until bedtime.
Yes.
And then I go to bed and not stay up.
Enjoy that, Jeff.
Yep. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Just remember, you have to work tomorrow, Jerf.
I know.
Just, are you sure you don't have anything in your throat, Jeff? A little.
It's round bottle flu.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My favorite kind of flu.
Yeah.
Sadly, no vaccination for brown bottle flu.
No. Well,
just time.
Like an IV bag into your arm probably helps significantly.
Maybe. I don't know how much that's a thing.
Hydration.
To just be able to like, hey, I need an IV to kill my hangover.
I'm sure someone's done it.
I mean, there's definitely an episode of Scrubs where JD and Turk do it. And then there's an episode where Colin Farrell is the guest character, and he asks them for an IV filled with Guinness. And they're like, we can't really do that. He's like, ah. I've been watching a lot of Scrubs lately. That's why I know those things.
I see.
Surprisingly, so last little bit of banter here, I guess. So I finally got Megan to watch Scrubs. Because Megan, being a nurse, hates almost all like medical shows. Because they're just always so wrong. Well, I've heard for years that people appreciated that Scrubs was fairly accurate on the medical side of things, and then like where it wasn't accurate, it was because it was clearly a ludicrous show full of ridiculous things. So I finally convinced her to watch it, and sure enough, she's loving it. But one of the interesting things to me is that Scrubs started airing in like 2000, 2001, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is really shocking to me to watch the early seasons of Scrubs especially, and seeing the kinds of jokes that a very, very popular, well-regarded comedy series was comfortable making in like 2001, 2002, 2003. And like it makes sense because like I think of these things like I graduated high school in 2003, and like I can remember the kinds of things that I thought was edgy and funny as a high schooler, and like, you know, like jokes that I felt totally comfortable making that now, you know, in 2020, I'm like, holy shit, like that's transphobic, or that's like homophobic, or that's super fucking racist. And like seeing a lot of those like in Scrubs is like, ooh, ouch. Like there's a lot of transphobia in the early episodes of Scrubs. And it's somewhat jarring seeing that, like, as a show that I loved, that, like, has always been one of my favorites, and it's still highly regarded. It's 8.3 on IMDb. Like, it was a great show, and just, wow. And so it's an interesting, like, microcosm of, like, how much, like, society has progressed in the last, like, 20-ish years.
Yeah.
Even Megan's commented, and she's like, wow, the dudes spend a lot of time staring at, like, girls' tits, and, like, they're just like totally like, yeah, this is a normal thing for dudes to do.
Oh yeah, no,
like just full on chest stare, and like other like really casual sexism. She's like, it's kind of uncomfortable at times. I'm like, yeah, Yeah, I see that now. I did not notice that then.
Yes, no, there, and you definitely see that a lot in like a lot of like college movies and things that you're just like you go back and you're like, oh, that was rough.
Well, I suppose it's like, like Revenge of the Nerds. Like if you go back and watch Revenge of the Nerds from like, I don't know, the 80s or 70s, it's like, that's a rape. Like they make a big joke about a dude raping a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's interesting sometimes to have things like TV and movies to show us society's changing views on what is allowable as a air quotes joke and what isn't.
Yeah. No, you can look at like you said, Scrubs, and then you see either like Bob's Burgers or Brooklyn Nine-Nine and like the types of jokes that they'll make and stuff like that. That it's changed a lot.
Yeah. I'm really curious to see. So like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like right back towards the early part of this year when all of the major protests were going on about like George Floyd's murder and like all the protests about police brutality surrounding that. Like they all basically said they were going back to the drawing board for their entire next season that they were like almost filming for. And they're like, we're going to go back and kind of reevaluate this because like a lot of our jokes and things like in retrospect make fun a lot of like the enormous power that cops wield. And like going back, like a lot of the things that the detectives do in Brooklyn Nine-Nine as a comedy show are actually super fucking sketchy and things that cops shouldn't be doing. And to make jokes about that might not be okay.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, that's where you get to see even it evolving in there. So it's it's pretty progressive in terms of certain types of comedy. But then, like you said, everything that's been going on with the police and things like that it's like, it's starting to get a little but for different reasons. So
yep. Long story short, as humans, it's important to learn and grow and change. So there we go. That's the end of the banters. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a heavy note to be like, hey, this show I used to really like has a lot of problematic things in it now.
Except Jeff didn't get to banter about anything.
Oh shit! Because you were talking about WoW and stuff. So Jeff, you banter. Jeff banter. Bring us back to lighthearted shit.
I played some more of the new consoles. Miles Morales continues to be good. Astrobots.
This is why I didn't want to let Jeff banter because I forgot he has all the new consoles and it makes me
Astrobots Playroom is pretty cool. I beat everything and got all of the puzzle pieces and artifacts, all the very high res digital. I don't know. Look at this PS3. Look how good this PS3 looks. Did all that. There's a couple achievements left in there, which are slightly easier to get because the loading is so fast. You can just be like, I'm going to go here and do the thing.
I saw I think it was an Onion article or something like that it was just like the consoles are loading so fast that I don't have time to doom scroll anymore.
Yes. Then besides that, I haven't really. I played some of the Fuser, which is the like sort of DJ harmonics game that just came out. That's been a lot of fun. Kind of do some like remixing of songs, and it's just sort of fun to play around in that and kind of be a whatever DJ. Got a new watch, which is cool. Got one of those new Apple Watches.
The 6 or the SE?
The 6.
Okay.
I've not had a fancy smartwatch before, but it was on a good deal, so I bought it.
Nice.
And it's pretty great. It works very well with my phone.
Shocking. The Apple phone works well with the Apple Watch?
Yes.
That doesn't seem right.
I actively disbelieve that.
Apple's never known for like trying to have some sort of like synergy. That's not they're very standalone on their stuff.
But I can like talk to it and be like, give me directions to work, and it will tell me about traffic, and it actually like buzzes for notifications, which my other watch has just stopped doing. And I have not been able to get it to like give text notifications anymore. So no matter how much I uninstalled it, I reinstalled it, restored its firmware, it just stopped, which was annoying.
That was
that sounds annoying.
Like a Fitbit that you had, right?
Fitbit Versa, their first kind of like big smartwatch, And then since then, Google has bought Fitbit, and I think the new Fitbit is sort of their Apple Watch competitor, but it's Android-based, of course, because, Google.
Yep.
But that one seemed cool, too. But I ended up going... I got like $100 gift card or something from that, which I then spent on video games. And I bought my first 2 new Switch games in years because they never go on sale. And I'm never one to like buy a full price game. I need like buy 2 get 1 free, or $20 off, half off. And I bought the Zelda, that's
the Age of Calamity.
No, the Link's Awakening, the Game Boy remake.
Okay. Oh, gotcha.
And the Luigi's Mansion 3. So I'll probably give those a go. And I got the Ghosts of Tsushima, which I will install on the PS5, and that will have a very nice frame rate, or look very nice, one of the two. But not both.
No, never both.
Never both. Everyone's real up in arms over Hearthstone right now. Again, they revamped the rewards system. You used to get daily quests, and they used to give you 50 or 60 gold. A pack was 100 gold, but now there's like a battle pass system that everyone still has access to, and you get rewards as you do that. But the math that has been done sounds like generally you're getting less from that battle pass now for having to do more effort. So people are like, this fucking sucks. So you could be doing a bunch of quests in certain days in a row, but now you're getting experience for your quests and not gold to buy packs with. So the game is just getting more and more and more expensive, which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real glad I never got into things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that World of Warcraft, it's staring at me right now. I could just I could press play right now.
Right fucking now.
Back in the day, Wrath of the Lich King came out. I remember when that came out, I picked it up at like a midnight launch, and I went home, and then I played it for a day and a half straight. Like,
oh, Jesus.
Yeah, like 36 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't sleep. I think I want to say I hit max level.
Oh, you hit 80?
I hit 80 before I went to sleep.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about that for this one.
No, and I wasn't for the last one either, but
Yeah.
I also didn't play that one until much later in its lifespan. Yeah, besides that, sort of the beer is flowing. Everything got shut down again.
Yeah.
Everything's
super fucked.
We opened up the mezzanine, which is like the area that you could sit and drink and eat that was over the production floor, and we had that open Friday. So it was open for a week, and then it was closed back down because all indoor has ceased. But we got a bunch of heaters for the patio that I think were supposed to come in today. Said they were delivered, and then I don't think they were. But that's still going. Yeah, even Kuma's shut down. Even their little patio they had, because it was only like six or seven tables.
Oh, really? Damn it! That's a bummer.
They're still doing to go or delivery, but no more even outdoor dining there.
Yeah, that's not as good. I mean, I get it, because it definitely probably wasn't worth it to keep those like handful of patio seats open, but
no.
Bummer. Yeah, no, Megan is like super stressed and on edge and everything. Like, yeah, her sister's a teacher in the UP, and they were talking this morning on like a voice chat, and her sister was like, yeah, so one of my students got put in quarantine on Friday and then flew to Washington for a big family Thanksgiving on Sunday. So, and Megan just like hung her head and was like, oh, just pray for me for like the next 2 weeks, because it's just going to get really fucking awful.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to be a nurse right now. And yeah, it sucks. It's really hard to see. So I'm fortunate. Like, my job doesn't get actively fucking worse because people are fucking stupid about shit. But hers does, unfortunately.
So yeah, video games are what I will be playing instead of I was going to get a new car from Chicago, but which meant I had to fly there and drive back. The original plan was I was going to drive there and drive back, but I can't really drive there and just leave my car there that then someone else has to deal with. So
I mean, just take the tags off and leave it on the side of the road, man.
Yeah, I think they'll find me. So,
but seriously, like, I mean, one thing you could, if you still, I don't know, it might have been too late to call this, but like, there are charity organizations, like, you can donate your car to like NPR and CPR. And
Oh,
get,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
$500 for it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
like, that's still technically an option.
yes, that's probably what I'll do with it.
Eventually.
Yeah. I will just travel there at a less busy time and then drive it back.
Yeah.
And get
if
a bunch of
you-
my Warhammer stuff.
Yeah. Right on. So
And the new Blood Bowl comes out like this weekend, so
fucking woot.
woo.
Speaking of Blood Bowl, is there Bloody Minute?
No, our season I think is like finally almost over. I watched a game of Blood Bowl. It's been like weeks. These last couple games are just
Yeah.
taking forever. We got one
Okay.
game left. Might happen sometime this week. I'm locked in for 6th place, but some of these last round things actually do matter for who can tie, basically. I think if the dwarves win, they'll tie and have to go to like a tiebreakers. So we shall see. 4th and 5th place are playing.
Nice.
And I think either one of them, if they win, can tie for 1st. So as long as they don't tie, well, as long as someone wins and they don't tie, they have a chance for 1st, I believe. So
Okay. Nice.
yeah, and then I think Fumble is gonna switch. Well, Fumble is gonna switch over to the new system, but when that's gonna happen, I don't know. But they will finally be leaving Java, and will be, I think it's Unity that they'll be going to. So something that's more new than Java.
Cool.
So yeah, Blood Bowl, Dun Bowl.
Blood Bowl, Dun Bowl. Yeah, and still no Kingdom Death Hour, because there won't be probably for a while now with the new restrictions in place.
No, there will not.
So that brings us over to some news and Kickstarters.
Yeah, after, I don't know, like 30 minutes of banter.
Yeah, ish.
First up in news this week, Wizkids is releasing a redonkulous miniature set.
Yes, indeed they are. I was confused for a second because I forgot I reorganized the thing and not my tabs. So that's on me. I was like, Jeff, you're doing this out of order. Oh, wait, no, he's not. Anyhow, back to, yes, ridiculous, like, set thing here. So it is the D&D Icons of the Realms Yawning Portal Inn premium set. Is a 130-piece replica of the Yawning Portal Inn from Waterdeep, which there's an entire book of like drop-in, drop-out campaign settings of like tales from the Yawning Portal. This thing is fucking ridiculous. So first of all, the price tag is ludicrous. So if you've got just money to burn, $350 for a 130-piece replica. The main piece of it is a huge 3-story tavern with a giant like well in the center. That's the Yawning Portal. So it's the dry well that leads down into the Undermountain and all that stuff. It has an LED fireplace. It's built on 28mm scale. Works with all D&D Icons of the Realm miniatures. Comes pre-painted and includes Durnan the bartender, 2 long bar sections, an L-piece bar section, short bar, left bar, wall piece, right bar, back wall piece, middle bar, back wall piece, Grimvault, Statue of Tamora, fireplace, logs, portal, blah, 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 blah. Bunch of shit. I'm not going to read through 130 different pieces. But you get the idea. Like, it's all kinds of, like, the stuff you need to make a full bar in main common area. Which is just a little bonkers. and they've got a
Yeah.
beautiful
What are
bunch
you gonna
of shit.
What are you gonna use this for?
For actual play, like you could host all of the encounters that happen in the bar in this encounter. And not
Okay.
to mention like being able to use a lot of the other like individual components like the bar pieces
Yeah.
on other sets and other maps. Like there's no reason you couldn't repurpose a lot of that stuff. If it weren't for the fact that I'm pretty sure that the 130 pieces, with air quotes, includes things like, as I get further down here, 72 Warlock Easy Clips, 32 Edge Caps. It's like, I haven't done the math on all the numbers here, but I start to wonder if like that 104 overinflates. Which no, doing the quick math on a couple other things, that's definitely not the case. Easy Clips and Edge Caps definitely don't count. And I'm not sure if the 10 2-inch full height plaster walls count either. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's also very, very expensive.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I usually value minis at about $1 a piece for like really nice painted ones. So it doesn't live up to that. It's close. $260 versus $350. But also that doesn't normally include a 3 fucking story inn. Which is, maybe someday. Maybe someday. Although I don't know how long it'll be around. And then eventually, like, if you don't get it now, it'll end up being worth like $1,000 because that's how shit like this always ends up.
Correct.
Which is obnoxious. But whatever. Yeah. Crazy.
My question, though, is if you did end up buying that, how often are you going to be like, all right, and you guys end up at this inn for the like you just keep going back to the fucking inn.
I paid money for this. We're
like,
gonna use it. God damn it!
Yeah.
Well, I think if I haven't looked through Yawning Portal, the game book, but like I think you use the inn as a base of operations, so I could see you going back routinely if you were running that particular set of things. But no, I'm with you, Zach. Like it just doesn't seem that likely. You can at least break off, it looks like the different floors can be removed and used individually. So you could use like this floor is this U-shaped bar and this floor is a different U-shaped bar in a different town.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does seem this is particularly excessive and only for people who literally have money to burn.
Yes.
I don't know. Still looks really cool though. I will give them credit
definitely.
for that. It looks awesome.
I mean, anything this expensive should look good, right?
I also agree.
If it was $350 and it looked like shit, I mean,
It wouldn't be the first time things like that have happened.
that's true.
No, I drank too much of my beer during the pre-show. I'm almost all the way through with my Crowler from Strange. As we move on to our next piece of news.
Yes. Next up in news, Gale Force 9 is suing the shit out of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah. Speaking of D&D stuff, this is loosely related. So essentially what seems to be happening here, so Wizards has been getting sued a lot lately. So they were previously sued about somebody about like developing a Dragonlance series. This one is potentially much more serious. So Gale Force 9 is suing for almost $1 million, $950,000 plus fees plus other remedies. And essentially where it all started is Wizards let Gale Force know that it wanted to end its license a year early on December 31st of this year. After they didn't reach an agreement on early termination, Gale Force 9 is alleging that Wizards of the Coast stopped approving products for release in international markets where Gale Force 9 had translation and distribution rights. And it's like blown up. Both companies have filed notices of breach of contract. Gale Force 9's lawsuit lists breach of contract, breach of implied duty of good faith, and temporary injunction relief. Essentially, this all stems from they had a 2017 license where Wizards allowed Gale Force 9 to do translation and distribution in a bunch of non-US countries. And then there's an even older 2008 license for manufacturing and worldwide distribution of D&D products. And the two contracts are linked so they can cancel together if that happens. Where this is potentially big is this could affect, like, Gale Force 9 distributes, like, if you've ever bought, the, like, spell cards, like the decks of spell cards that they make, a lot of other, like, ancillary products like that are all tied to this contract. And so with this contract going away, that might affect the availability of those spell cards and things like that, and whether or not new ones can get made. And then in the future, if they do cancel this contract and move it to, like, a different company, they might not match. So, like, if you're having all of your accoutrements be similar, that might be a problem. I don't know. So we'll see where this goes. According to Gale Force 9, like, their statement talked about, like, this is a difficult place. We don't want to have to utilize the legal system. We still hope this can be settled between us, but the timeline for legal resolution has forced us down this path. And then Wizards has been no response to comments, at least from this ICV2 article that I pulled all this from. So we will see. I originally got pointed to this from a different article that was like a blog post from somebody who runs a game store, and they were talking about, like, this lawsuit especially can really affect them because, like, they sell a lot of, like, those spell cards and things like that. Monster cards. Like, I've got a couple sets of, like, basic level monsters so that I can, like, show my players, like, this is a picture of what this monster looks like. And then on the back of it, it has a bunch of information for me about, like, its stats and stuff, which is really fucking handy rather than, like, flipping through a monster manual and showing, like, a page. So yeah, we'll see. That could be big deals. And that's a lot of money, $1 million. But that's about it for that one.
Definitely curious to see where this is going to go.
Yeah.
And like, it's all based on just the fact that Wizards wanted to get out of it early, right?
Yeah, so Wizards, and I think that's where they're coming up with this. Like, so Wizards wanted to get out of it early. Gale Force said, no, this is a lucrative contract, which I'm sure it is for them. And I don't know if that's, like, yeah, that's not what they officially said. But, and then they're now saying that Wizards won't approve some of their translations and sales in foreign markets where they have distribution rights. And they're saying that, like, I guess, it sounds like Gale Force 9 is saying that that's because they wouldn't back out early. Now Wizards is just going to stop letting them do things.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll see. I have a feeling that's the kind of thing that will go to arbitration or something, and we will have to see what evidence is presented and what things, like, who knows? I have no speculation about who's in the right and who's in the wrong on this one.
So Wizards of the Coast is wrong. And
probably.
Mhm.
That I mean, as much as I love Wizards of the Coast, that would not surprise me at all.
Right.
Especially now that they're owned by fucking Hasbro.
I mean, I'm guessing just once again, just looking off of this, that with that early agreement, I mean, if you're going to end something early, then you would have in either built into the contract or something like that, something that's like, if you end it, we are entitled to blah 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 blah, and then they're just not wanting to uphold it, or it was vague and then they're trying to get out of it that way. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if it was the 2008 one, I could buy that, like, hey, we made this contract 12 years ago and, like, things aren't working out, and so we want to end it early. But, like, the other one was from, like, 2017. Like, that's not that long ago. You made a 4-year contract and you want out of it 25% early. Like, come on, dude. But we'll see. And maybe they have a good reason for wanting out of it that they can supply in court. They're like, hey, there's a reason we want out of this. They're not fulfilling their end of the bargain or something. Who knows? I could wildly speculate endlessly. But we'll just have to wait and see what is actually revealed and decided.
Do we have to?
I mean, we don't have to.
Can we just continue?
You can go back to ignoring it until we have the results, and then I will bring it up again for a news and banter.
Perfect. No, I meant, can we just continue to just guess wildly at what it was?
Oh, yeah, we can also do that. Personally, I think it's that Gale Force 9's CEO punched a baby, and that baby belonged to the CEO of Wizards of the Coast. And so this whole thing is over punching babies. It's, the whole Dane Cook problem coming back again. I always knew that Dane Cook's jokes would bite humanity in the ass, and here we are.
And now we're a real YouTube channel. Next up in news, Kids on Bikes. Remember them? Well, now they're getting a board game.
Yeah. So Kids on Bikes is a little, like, one-shot-ish. You can do it for longer, but it's, like, meant to be like a really quick, easy one-shot RPG system that helps you tell Stranger Things-esque stories. Kids on bikes, or what was that old Stephen King book that got done into a movie?
It?
Yes, that actually works for this, but I was thinking of a different one where the 4 kids
Stand.
go, they find the body.
The Stand.
No, Stand would not work. Stand is definitely not kids on bikes.
Stand
the
by
Maximum
Me.
Overdrive.
Stand by Me, that's
Yes.
the one.
Maximum,
Maximum
damn it,
Overdrive,
Jeff,
also not
You
kids
just
on
had to
bikes.
keep naming ones that wasn't Stand By Me. Come on, man.
Cujo.
Yes, there you go. Pet Cemetery.
Yeah.
Maybe Kids on Bikes? I know it's got some kids in it. Anyhow, yeah, so
Most
like
are
Stand
dead.
By Me, Stranger Things, stuff like that. Tales from the Loop, that kind of thing. We did a 2-parter, so a 2-shot, I guess, not a 1-shot, but like a 2-part 1-shot with MHGD in between our seasons. That went like amazingly well. We explored an abandoned mall and all kinds of shenanigans happened. It was a ton of fun. Great little RPG system. Anyway, Renegade has announced they are doing a full-on board game based on that world, that universe. The Snallygaster Situation, Kids on Bikes board game. So it is a cooperative title for 2 to 5 players. One of the players takes on the role of a lost kid, and all of the rest of them are just other children trying to solve the mystery of the lost kid. The basic idea of the gameplay is that the lost kid each turn selects a card to play. The card gives clues about where the lost kid is located, like street names, buildings, landmarks, things like that. It also dictates how the monsters for the scenario and the feds that are present in all of the scenarios move and attack on the board. So, like, sometimes you might have to be careful if you have a really good clue, but it's going to really hurt the team. Maybe you don't give that one right now. You give, like, a little bit more mediocre clue that's going to move the monsters in a different direction and open up some avenues, and then later you come back to give that really good clue. There's a Doom Tracker, which is like the game timer that gets advanced when monsters attack kids. If a kid is attacked, it also like sends them all the way back to the treehouse on the board, which there's not really any photos of the game, so I don't know what that's gonna look like. But yeah, eventually, if you find the lost kid, they join the group, and then you have to fight the main monster, which can be things like the Jersey Devil, Dover Demon, Bloody Mary, and the Snallygaster from the box title, with each monster having different difficulties and unique gameplay elements. So, I don't know. Sounds kind of interesting. I like that idea of, again, the one person trying to, like, have tough decisions about giving clue, what clue to give and how people will interpret it. And I don't know, like, if this is going to be, like, I imagine it like a Dixit-style clue, or maybe there's some level of needing to interpret things. And so you're like, oh, shit, like, this clue gives my location perfectly. They should totally get it. And then you put it out there and they go in a completely different direction, which would be great. But I don't know if that's actually how this is going to ultimately work. But I don't know. I'm interested.
No real release date on there, just 2021.
Yep, 2021. And there's, like, nothing on the BGG page for it currently. There's no votes or ratings or anything.
Yeah, info only just came out 3 days ago. So
yeah, there's not even a forum post yet about this that I see. So I'm gonna keep an eye on it though, because I'm intrigued.
yeah. Last up on news, there's it's not a new award. New award.
Yes, this is new.
There's a new award out there, the Zenobia Award.
Yeah. So the Zenobia Award is pretty much brand new. I just saw it get announced. Like, I saw it somewhere the other day, and I meant to make a note of it, and then I forgot. And then thankfully Zach found this stuff about it. Where Shut Up and Sit Down was talking about it, and they had links to like the actual webpage and whatnot. Anyhow, the Zenobia Award is a really interesting thing. It is directly targeted towards underrepresented people in the board gaming hobby. So like women, people of color, LGBTQ, that type of thing. And more specifically, even than that, it's targeted towards underrepresented people who are designing like historical games. And essentially the process they've come up with is also really interesting. So it's not just like, hey, I'm an underrepresented person who designed a board game. Let me enter to see if I can win this award. And then they look at all the games. They go, hey, this one's the best. You win the award. Rather, what they do is they go through all of the applicants and they pick different games and designers. And like you can enter as an individual designer, group designers, whatever. And then they will pair you up with a established designer in this like genre. So like one of the people who's heavily involved in this is like Volko Ruhnke, who designed like all of the coin games. Cole Worley, who did like Oath and Pax Pamir and On Route and all of those, John Company, all of that stuff. Like, so there's a bunch of designers and stuff who are involved in this. Geoff Engelstein, Jess Cassidy, like a lot of different people. And essentially you get paired up with someone. They help you like further develop your game, work along like, and then eventually once the games are developed and everything, then they will like name and give a winner. Which I think is kind of a really awesome way to try and improve that. And especially when you look at like historical games and war games are definitely a heavily like, they're another one of those, like, it's a niche within a niche within a niche and is heavily, heavily dominated by, like, straight white dudes. And, like, so I love to see that, like, the list of people involved with this and, like, the volunteers, like, going through the volunteers, like Travis Hill, who's also in Punchboard Media with us and is an awesome designer. He's one who jumped out to me, like, right away in this list. Dan Thurot, is another reviewer who does a lot of really interesting, really good, deep critiques of like heavier games, war games, things like that. Seeing like Cole Worley, Volko Ruhnke, and like the actual people organizing this, like these are big names in this genre. And to see them like, really reach out and try and actively foster bringing in underrepresented groups, I think is really, really cool. It seems like an interesting process. I'm curious to see how it ultimately works out, and how they do like the matching people up, the mentoring process, all of that. Like their rules pages is in depth, but it's all about historical war games, and that's something like because it's one thing like especially when you're going for a historical war game, like there's definitely it's good to have a lot of different diverse voices, I think, involved in that, because it's one thing for like a like straight white dude from America or Europe to design a war game about, say, Rommel fighting in North Africa and like the fight against Rommel in North Africa. And like somebody might pit that very much squarely in the Germans versus the Allies in North Africa perspective. But somebody who's like of North African descent, who maybe has like more of like what it was like for the people who lived in North Africa and had to deal with both of these major combatants fighting in your land, can add some very, I think, interesting and different perspectives that you might not normally get. I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. More perspectives is almost always a good idea.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like that it includes like a whole mentoring step where they mentor and like build on the project, and then it's like, and now we'll choose the best one after you've had a chance to really develop it. That's cool too.
And that's it for news.
Yeah.
Which leads us
moving on to Kickstarters.
Which leads us on to the traditional Kickstarter phase of this
Indeed.
podcast. First up on Kickstarters this week, we have Hibachi, where animals eat animals. Just overfunded, 21,000 of its $14,000 goal, just over 400 backers, and about 4 days left to pledge this one at its most popular pledge of $46.
Woot! So Hibachi is a 2 to 4 player dexterity game, 5 if you get the expansion pack, where you are a hibachi chef and you are playing around with other hibachi chefs trying to cook food on this grill. So you throw your chips on the board, knock other chips around, and ultimately try to collect the ingredients you need to make the different dishes on your grill that you want to make. So if that sounds vaguely familiar, you may have played or be familiar with Saffronito, because this is definitely a remake, re-theme of Saffronito, which they are honest about a little ways down into the Kickstarter. So
they said they redoing this made it a lot more thematic, and maybe in the sense that Saffronito was about like making spice mixes, whereas this is like you're making actual meals.
Yeah.
So
I'm still not fully like sure how thematic it is that like different chefs at the same restaurant are competing over ingredients. Like,
yeah.
no, I get the fish, not you, motherfucker. Sorry, your table ordered fish. They lose. But yeah, so it says here, Hibachi, fun dexterity game for 2 to 4 players, inspired by the much sought after Saffronito. In Hibachi, you will have to throw your weight around as well as your utensils to collect the ingredients you need to fulfill your customers' orders. Will you be the most successful chef, or will you feel the burn? So it's basically, like I said, complete reprint, retheme of Saffronito. So you get a double layer player board, so it's got like a raised lip around it so the discs stay on the board. You get 24 poker chips, 6 for each player color, that represent, like, they have different values on them, and you use those for like flicking around to try and collect your different ingredients. 54 ingredient cards, 18 recipe cards, 42 paper yen, so it's a paper money game. Rulebook, and then a wooden soy sauce bottle that is a player marker, like first player marker. Their Kickstarter exclusive fried egg poker chips. That's nice. I missed that earlier. If you pledge for the higher level, the $46 hot and spicy level, you'll get the hot and spicy expansion, which is another 6 poker chips for a 5th player, and a new value 0, like a new 0 value poker chip. 20 new ingredient cards, 3 hot and spicy recipe cards, extra paper money to accommodate that extra player, 5 player boards so that give each chef like unique abilities and powers, and 2 wooden chopsticks for reasons. Yeah. So it's Saffronito. You flick discs around and you're trying to get your disc to land on the ingredients you want. And other people can try to knock your discs out of the way to get their own, like, collect that recipe for themselves.
Discs.
Yes. I mentioned that as I scrolled by, like, they've got these.
The egg discs are like denial discs. Like the head chef will throw one out, and then whatever that egg poker chip is on, no one can buy or sell or whatever spot that is.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
like,
damn.
So it's like a little denial piece that you can put out there.
Okay.
That is
Kickstarter
exclusive, but may be available from them later.
Stretch goals include like more money or like better money, thicker, nicer paper stock for the money, new recipe cards, things like that. New ingredients, stuff like that. So
a gloss coated board.
Oh, discs will slide real good on a gloss board.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if you
missed out on Saffronito, you know.
Yeah, if you liked Saffronito or if you wanted Saffronito, then this will be for you.
Yeah.
I think it was funny. I was joking with Zach like at the beginning, like I think even before you joined up, Jeff, when we were going over these. I saw that like somewhere down here, where to go. Yeah. New version of a classic. Hibachi based on Saffronito, Game is now rethemed and expanded for a much more rewarding and thematic experience. Maybe more rewarding and more thematic if you actually liked Saffronito. Considering how much I hated Saffronito, I am pretty sure that I have no interest myself in Hibachi. But, you know, Paul owns and loves Saffronito. So maybe Paul wants double the Saffronito in his life. I don't know.
Maybe.
Perhaps. But I think we can move on from Hibachi to our last Kickstarter,
which is Reality Shift. This one is just funded, $13,000 of its $10,000 goal, 194 backers, and about 5 days left to pledge this one at its most popular level of $90.
Ooh, I yawned right there at the end of that. Ugh. So Reality Shift is a 3D racing game, set in kind of like a retro virtual world. So
Tron.
like
It's set in Tron.
Tron-esque. Yeah, it's very, very, very Tron-esque. I just realized I don't actually see where they tell how many players or time or anything like that anywhere on this Kickstarter. So that's going to be on them. But it seems kind of interesting, the core mechanic. So you play with, so it's a race from start to finish, versus everybody else, and it's played on these large,
Let's say
64 millimeter. Yeah. So 4 players, up to 4 players, probably 2 to 4 on this game. So it's 3D racing board game. So you play with these 64 millimeter magnetic cubes, with each side of the cube having faces on them, and basically your little light bikes, because again, it's Tron, but your light bike doesn't have to follow gravity, so you can totally go like off the edge. You can go along the surface of a cube and then like turn and go right down the edge, and then you can turn 90 degrees and like go along the edge and then turn onto another cube and like cut up, like, so you can take all kinds of different paths and weird things like that. You gain movement by rolling the movement die and by playing an action card from your 3-card hand that will also give you movement. In addition to using the action cards for movement, you can also play an action card each turn that will move the cubes around. So you can do things like you can move cubes into positions that will help you like reach the end quicker, like if you shortcuts and things like that. You could move cubes to move your enemies back. You can even like move a cube up on top and smash an opponent's bike, which will send them back either to the beginning of the map, or if they've taken advantage of one of the mechanics where you can sacrifice move to place respawn markers, they will go back to their like respawn marker. So, and then other than that, you're just racing to try and get like from the start to the end. So I think it's kind of cool. Like, I like the idea of like actively fucking with the board as you play, and changing things up. They also have another like kind of cool mechanic where if your bike is on a cube face that matches your color, then that cube cannot be moved. So you can use that kind of to like as a defensive thing, like, oh, I can get my green bike onto this green cube, and then now I'm like safe for a bit. Nobody can move this cube away from me. Unclear if you can still be smashed if you're on your own color. Maybe they can't move your cube, but they might be able to move a different cube onto yours. I don't know. But no idea if it's a good game, but I think that mechanic sounds kind of cool. That mechanism.
Great.
Sorry, mechanism.
Yeah, it seems cool. It's kind of expensive. I mean, the regular version is $40. It's $55 for the deluxe edition that comes with the actual like stretch goals and stuff.
Yeah.
The deluxe super edition just comes with the super track layouts, which are
so it gives you 18 of the cubes instead of like the 9 in the base game.
Yeah.
So it lets you build even crazier boards.
Yeah. Seems neat.
Also gives you a grid board in the deluxe version.
Probably just something to put the cubes on, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm
curious because like
cubes.
For the like if you scroll down like on the deluxe pledge level, they give you like deluxe track 2 towers. But like everybody can see that track and how to design it. Like all you need is 9 cubes to build the 2 towers track.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that's about with like the super track layouts. And because none of the track layouts, at least that they show so far, are that interesting. So I don't know what that's about. But and then you can like just go even bigger and bigger where you just get more and more. Or I thought I saw somebody say you could. I guess I don't see it now. I don't know. Anyhow. Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. Cool concept. I don't know if it actually plays. I don't know if it's actually fun to play, but it sounds cool.
What was that VHS sort of looking game where you like light racers or?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it looked like a VHS set.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never played it. Zach, you played it at least.
I did. It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
This one seems like a much better version, or it could be a much better version of that.
Yeah.
I mainly keep it around because it looks good on the shelf.
Yes, it does.
One of the unlocks for the deluxe editions, which include the stretch goals, the first one, in fact, was the White Hole Deluxe Cube. It has no paths on any of its sides, but it's easy to transform, making it perfect for blocking your opponent's paths and crushing them. So that's cool.
I do like crushing my opponents and hearing the lamentations of their women.
Okay, Sun Tzu / Genghis Khan. I don't remember which
Conan the Barbarian,
Conan
sir.
Jesus Christ, man.
Well, yeah, but it came from before Conan. Like, it was I'm pretty sure it's a Genghis quote that they used in Conan.
I don't know. We may never know. There's no way to know. There's no way to know.
They didn't write down everything that Genghis Khan said, so maybe he did say that at some point.
I mean, maybe it is just Conan. I don't actually see it.
This is a paraphrase of a quote attributed to Genghis Khan.
Okay.
Paraphrase, not direct quote. So.
Well, yeah, probably because there wasn't somebody exactly describing Genghis Khan's words.
Yeah, seems like there should have been someone doing that then.
I guess maybe.
This dude seems important. Let's do that.
Dude ended up pretty important. A substantial number of the human population are descended from him.
And it is disputed whether that is an actual quote from him or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for Kickstarter.
That is it for Kickstarter.
And your Genghis Khan minute. It's our new minute that we've thrown in.
We'll need new Genghis Khan quotes to keep up that minute.
Yeah.
So that moves us over to some listener feedback where we actually have an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email. Like this wonderful person did. Sure. L'Expo International du MHGG Slack. Jeremy here. That's their name. I just wanted to share a quick tidbit about my recent experiences with your Slack and the people therein. Tonight, I will be playing Barrage with people from 3 countries. There will be a Canadian accent, an Aussie accent, and a Texas accent. While
Sorry about that last one.
Yeah. While one of these people is from my regular group, he's the one who introduced me to MHGG. I guess my question is, how awesome is that?
It's pretty awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah, I do really like seeing the different people who've had a chance to kind of meet and get to know each other through our Slack channel. Because I feel like there's been people who didn't know about each other until they met in the MHGG Slack and are now like, hey, we're people that know each other and play games together now. And that's cool. We were getting a lot of requests, even pre-COVID, for an MHGG con of some kind. And so I think, once we can start safely gathering again in reasonably large numbers, I'm going to look into doing something like that. Some, smaller, 20, 50 people in a small...
2050, 2,050 people, Adrian?
20 to 50. Sorry, I did not enunciate enough for you, Zach McAnally. Yes, 20 to 50 people. Just enough to get, a couple of the core people from the local group, as well as, a bunch of the, active people on the Slack channel. Get a good group of people. Find a good, lodge up in the mountains. You can rent, larger lodges and stuff for, ski getaways. And we'll rent one for a board game getaway or something like that. But I think that sounds cool, and I think that's something that I would like to do when COVID is all over. Get everybody together. And I don't know if we'll get all the Canadians and the Aussies. That might be prohibitively expensive to come to the U.S. for a small weekend board game convention with your favorite nerdy, dumb podcasters from Denver. But, we can at least, hopefully get a few people from all around the U.S.
Yeah.
To get together and meet each other in person. So yes, Jeremy, it's cool.
And that's it for emails at milehighgameguys.com.
And indeed, that's it for all of the listener feedback. If you would like to get a hold of us, there are multiple ways to do so. Like Jeremy, you can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on BGG, where we have a guild number 2731. Not a lot of posting going on over there. Mostly, there's a active thread for a Q&A that we will do whenever the 3 of us can get back in studio together, which hopefully maybe spring? Maybe? We'll see.
We'll see.
But you have plenty of time to get questions in over on that thread. You can also find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have an Instagram account @MHGameGuys. Jeff, did you ever throw any of your minis up on there that
No.
you painted up all sexy?
Yes, that's what Space Marines are.
Yeah.
Super sexy Space Marines.
I don't want to see that.
What you got to do is you keep all the armor and stuff on, but you paint it like it's not armor, and then you have like
Flesh.
bikinis and stuff. Yeah.
Flesh-colored armor.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting into some chaos stuff.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send the commissar.
Let's Google Rule 34 Space Marines.
Don't
No,
do
that-
that.
no.
No, don't do that.
Don't, please.
You can also find us over on Facebook, facebook.com/MHGameGuys. Not a whole lot that really goes on over there. Like, we don't use Facebook that much, but it exists if you want to like it and give us likes on Facebook.
And then-
We have our
then
website.
Facebook will tell us that you liked it.
Exactly. And we'll
Yes.
go, hey, we have another like on Facebook.
Yay!
Our website, milehighgameguys.com. We'll be getting a major upgrade sometime here in the relatively near future when I get around to it, which everybody knows how I do with getting around to things. So it'll happen at some point. In the meantime, there are still blog posts over there from older episodes and links to things like our Slack channel, which Jeremy mentioned is a great place to organize board games with people from all over the world. Avoid Boyd if you want to avoid Texas accents. I don't think we have any other Texans besides Boyd. But otherwise, he's a cool dude. But if you don't like Texas accent, you're out of luck there.
Yep.
Then I already mentioned our BGG guild because I did that out of order because reasons. And then lastly, you can check us out on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys. There will be a fresh MHDD stream up there when this episode airs because we are recording that stream tomorrow. And then maybe this week, now that Jerf's sticking around town and not going to be gone, maybe we can do another board game stream. The three of us and maybe Megan or somebody else who's also off can do a board game stream.
Yeah.
And do something like that. That'd be fun.
That'd
It
be
was fun
cool.
when we did make Mars green again on Twitch. So yeah, go follow us over there. Subscribe if you feel like it. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can even subscribe for free to you and give us like $2.50 a month, which is cool. That's like not much, but we'll take anything. We've had fans throw us pennies at conventions. It's great.
Fistfuls.
So yeah. Fistfuls of pennies.
Fistfuls indeed.
But that's it for all the different ways to get a hold of us and interact with us. We highly encourage all of the above because we like hearing from our fans and interacting with our fans. And we want to thank all of you who do support us through things like our Patreon, over patreon.com/milehighgameguys. If you want to support the show financially, super understand if you don't because it's COVID and money's tight for a lot of people and our content levels are down right now anyway. So I get it if you don't, but if you want to, that's how you do it. Yeah, pretty much wraps up the show. As always, like to thank our sponsors, Gray Fox Games, for their continued sponsorship of the show. For just another few days, you have a chance to save some money on their web shop. So if you go to grayfoxgames.com, you can buy anything over there that is a non-exclusive item, board games, add-ons, stuff like that. And then when you go to checkout in that coupon code section, throw in NOVGAMEGUYS, NOVGAMEGUYS, NOVGAMEGUYS. And that will get you 20% off on, again, all of those non-exclusive items. So go support them in exchange for them supporting us and thereby supporting you in a nice little circle jerk of support. Jeff, do you have a prepared statement for us?
Of course.
And our sponsors.
Gray Fox Games, quality games, cleverly crafted. Also, another Chinese proverb: those who look to the heavens prosper, those who defy it are no more. The meaning here is that you can only survive as long as you're part of the natural order of things. You remember pre-ripped jeans? Manufacturers thought that just because people loved old, broken-in jeans, that they would want to buy new jeans that looked old. Denim should fray and rip on its own naturally. Some designers tried to go against that, and no one bought them. The earnings report from that fiscal year is enough of a proof.
What? that went in directions I found hard to follow.
You're welcome.
Also, people buy a lot of pre-ripped denim, so it's very successful. So
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Some designers maybe didn't have as much success.
Maybe not.
Maybe.
Anyway, that wraps up the episode on that weird note.
I got some real weird ones that I haven't even touched.
Oh, I can't wait. I wonder if someday you'll run out, and then I'm like, probably not.
There is so much Metal Gear.
Oh, I know.
It's possible, but
We'll
anyways.
see. But yeah, so that wraps everything up. For those of you here in the States who are celebrating Thanksgiving, hopefully you have a good Thanksgiving. Hopefully it's responsible and socially distanced and isolated and safe. And for everybody who doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a good normal week. And we'll be back next week with another new episode. So thanks for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm not level 60 yet, Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
Bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.